Eliza sat in her dimly lit bedroom, the only illumination coming from her laptop screen. It was late at night, and the silence of her suburban home was punctuated by the occasional creak of the house settling. She had always been curious, a trait that served her well in her schoolwork, but often led her down rabbit holes on the internet. Tonight, she was venturing into one of the deepest rabbit holes, the dark web. She had heard whispers about it from her friends, tales of hidden marketplaces, conspiracy theories, and unspeakable horrors. With her parents asleep and her homework completed, she felt an urge to explore. Using a Tor browser, she navigated through layers of encryption, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. She stumbled upon a forum called The Lullaby Room, a place where users shared stories and experiences that sent shivers down her spine. One post caught her eye. Experience true fear live chat with hackers. The thread was filled with warnings and pleas to avoid it, but Eliza's curiosity got the better of her. She clicked the link, entered the chat room, and typed a simple greeting. "Hello?" The response was instantaneous. "Welcome, Eliza. We've been expecting you." She froze. How did they know her name? Panic set in as she considered closing the browser, but before she could move, another message appeared. "Don't even think about leaving." Her heart pounded as she watched the cursor blink on the screen. "Who are you?" she typed, her hands trembling. "We are the keepers of the shadows," the reply came. "You wanted to see the dark web. Now you will experience it." Suddenly, her screen flickered, and a series of images flashed before her eyes: her home, her school, her friends. It was as if someone had been watching her, documenting her every move. "We know everything about you," the message continued. "And now we control your life." From that night on, Eliza's life became a waking nightmare. Her phone rang with strange numbers at all hours, and when she answered, there was nothing but heavy breathing or eerie laughter on the other end. Her social media accounts were hacked, and personal photos and messages were posted for the world to see. Friends and family received emails from her account, filled with cruel and bizarre content, straining her relationships and isolating her. At school, things were worse. Eliza's grades plummeted as her focus shifted to merely surviving each day. Rumors spread about her, fueled by the hacker's relentless torment. She became the subject of bullying, her former friends avoiding her like the plague. She tried to explain her situation to her parents, but they thought it was a cry for attention. The authorities were of little help, dismissing her claims as the antics of bored teenagers. Desperate, Eliza turned to online forums, hoping someone could offer a solution, but every lead turned into a dead end. The hacker seemed omnipotent, always one step ahead. Eliza's life spiraled further into chaos. Her nightmares became more vivid, often featuring the hooded figures she imagined were behind the screen. Sleep-deprived and paranoid, she could hardly differentiate between dreams and reality. The walls of her room seemed to close in on her, the shadows morphing into grotesque shapes. One night, she received an email with a subject line that chilled her to the bone. "Your last chance." The email contained a single sentence: "Meet us or the nightmare continues." Attached was an address in a rundown part of town. Against her better judgment, Eliza decided to go. She had nothing left to lose and needed answers. Dressed in a hoodie and jeans, she took a bus to the address, a dilapidated warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The area was eerily quiet, the only sound of footsteps echoing in the empty street. Inside the warehouse, she found a single chair under a flickering light. As she approached, figures emerged from the shadows: 3 people, their faces hidden behind masks. One of them stepped forward and handed her a laptop. "Sit," a voice commanded. Trembling, she obeyed. The screen lit up with a live video feed of her parents, tied to chairs in their living room. "We control everything," the masked figure said. "Your life, your family, your fate. This is your final test." Tears streamed down Eliza's face. "Please, just let them go," she begged. "Play the game, and they might be spared," the figure replied. The game was a twisted series of puzzles and challenges, each more horrifying than the last. Eliza's mind raced as she tried to solve them, each mistake resulting in the masked figures tightening their grip on her parents. Hours passed, the tension mounting, until she reached the final challenge. "Choose," the figure said. "Save yourself or save your parents." With shaking hands, Eliza made her choice. "I choose my parents," she whispered. The figures laughed, a cold, heartless sound. "Wrong choice," the leader said. Suddenly, the lights went out. Eliza's laptop screen went black, and she felt rough hands grabbing her, pulling her out of the chair. She screamed, but a cloth was pressed over her mouth, and the world faded to darkness. When she awoke, she was in a dank, dimly lit basement. Her hands and feet were bound, and a gag was tied tightly around her mouth. Panic set in as she realized she was completely alone. The only sound was the distant drip of water echoing in the dark. Days turned into a blur of fear and pain. The masked figures returned periodically, taunting her, making her solve more puzzles under duress. They delighted in her suffering, feeding off her terror. Eliza's spirit waned, her hope dwindling with each passing hour. One night, she heard footsteps approaching. A hooded figure entered the room, but this time the voice was different. "Eliza," it whispered, "don't make a sound. I'm here to help." It was her friend, Sarah, who had been suspicious of Eliza's sudden disappearance. Using her own tech skills, Sarah had tracked down the location of the warehouse. She had been planning this rescue for days, waiting for the right moment. Sarah quickly untied Eliza, who was too weak to stand on her own. Supporting her friend, Sarah led her through a series of dark corridors, avoiding the patrolling guards. The warehouse was a maze, and every creak of the floorboards made their hearts race. They finally reached an exit, but just as they stepped outside, an alarm blared. The hackers had discovered the escape. They sprinted across the gravel lot, Eliza barefoot and stumbling, her feet bleeding from the sharp stones. Just as the guards closed in, Sarah's older brother, who had been waiting nearby with a getaway car, sped toward them. The girls dove into the back seat, and the car roared to life, speeding away from the nightmare. Eliza and her parents were saved, but the scars ran deep. Therapy and the support of friends and family were crucial in her recovery, but she knew she would never be the same. The dark web had shown her the depths of human depravity, and the experience haunted her dreams. The dark web's lullaby was a haunting melody she would never forget, a reminder that sometimes curiosity can be the most dangerous path of all. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. Stay safe, and until next time, sweet dreams. Or should I say, nightmares.